Breaking news on the Justina Pelletier case. A Boston psychiatric nurse with day-to-day care of Justina Pelletier filed a mandated reporter complaint against Boston Children's Hospital alleging unlawful imprisonment of the Connecticut teen in custody by state authorities for 14 months. When clinicians, how do you say that? Clinicians at Boston Children's Hospital diagnosed Justina Pelletier with somatic syndrome disorder, a psychological condition, in February 2013. Justina and Initiative was placed against her will in a locked psychiatric unit. We've told you about this. According to Kathleen T. Higgins, she's a registered nurse, in her written complaint. In a letter dated January 8th, she wrote, "Since April 23rd, 2013, I have been engaged with Lou, Linda, and Jennifer Pelletier, the parents and eldest sister of Justina Pelletier, to facilitate Justina's discharge from Bader 5, an inpatient psychiatric unit of Boston Children's Hospital, where she has been unjustly and illegally imprisoned for the past 9 months. Prior to Justina's admission to Bader 5, she had spent 2 months as a ward of the state in a rush to judgment determined medical child neglect against Justina's parents, Lou and Linda Pelletier. When Suffolk County Juvenile Court Justice, and I hesitate to use this word, but it's his title, Honorable Joseph Johnston, ruled on February 15th in favor of Boston Children's Hospital and granted DCF temporary custody of the minor child, she said Justina's life was derailed. The pronouncement that shattered Justina's life was rendered by a total stranger who sentenced her to undergoing the stress of radical changes in her basic medical care before being moved to a more secure area of BCH where contact with the family would be more severely limited and more strictly monitored. Higgins, who has over 20 years in experience in child psychology, reported that every facet of Justina's life that held meaning for her was removed and replaced with a state devoid of compassion or conscience. Presumably, Dr. Colleen Ryan, the attending psychiatrist, intended to prevent harm caused by medical care Justina's parents had chosen. However, such alleged harm does not outweigh the emotional and medical abuse sustained by Justina at the hands of Boston Children's Hospital. Justina, she continues, was forced to accept her imprisonment and relinquish her most basic human rights because it was deemed unsafe for her to have access to the medical care she expected to receive at Boston Children's Hospital. Without a history of serious mental illness, without any behaviors to indicate that she was at risk of harming herself or others, keeping Justina a prisoner against her will is abusive in and of itself. This is from the nurse. This is from the nurse that watches over her. Justina was removed from Bader 5 at Boston Children's in mid-January, but still is in custody of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts against the wishes of her parents, who told Human Events they maintain that Department of Children and Family and Boston Children's Hospital are overriding their parental rights and preventing Justina from receiving the medical care that she needs. I'm against government control of children unless they're in criminal danger, said Dr. Monty Weinstein, founder of the board and chair of the Georgia-based National Parents' Rights Association. Because if they're allowed this type of thinking now, the next time the government will tell you where to go to church, what to do, and exactly how to do it. Weinstein said the government is taking children away from parents without imminent harm. That's a threshold that is required by law, because of the financial incentives to remove children from any parent are too great. Government agencies get a great deal of federal money for placing children into foster care. They manipulate parental rights by using the courts. Are you hearing this, America? Are you hearing what they're saying? Weinstein, who is a Harvard Medical School graduate, testifies all over the country in civil cases on behalf of good parents who want their children back from the government. If parents do not comply with Child Protective Services, they will unlawfully whisk children away, causing untold damages to the family life. Children are put into foster care, and what happens down the road is they get depressed and a lot of psychological problems develop.